Hi everyone, and welcome back to the MRE Security YouTube channel. My name is Evan Isaac, and today we'll be looking at Section 6 of the API Security 2024 CTF. The first challenge is Passcode to the Dark Vault. It was 75 points, and it says it seems you found the door to Sauron's gold. Can you figure out the passcode? And there is a target URL here. If we got on over to the target URL, we could see that there is one endpoint, and we have to supply it a PIN and a 4-digit number, as well as a post, and it's going to the vault endpoint. Whenever you see a PIN, whenever you see a password, the first thing that should come to mind is, does the application have rate limiting? We're going to just assume that we can potentially brute force the PIN, and that's how we retrieve the flag. So let's head on over to VS Code, and we'll create a new project, and we'll name it, let's say, pin.py. In here, we're going to want to do a few things. The first is we're going to want to import requests. We'll also want to get the URL, which we'll supply in just a little bit. We could do a for loop. So for pin, let's say in range, since it's a 4-digit pin, we'll probably want to keep it to 10,000. So 10,000. And essentially all that's going to do, it's going to go from 1 or 000 all the way up to 9999. And we'll do just another pin string. And what we're going to do is format it to say we want the pin value, which is going to be from the for loop, and we're going to want to format it to have zeros and digits. So if it's, let's say, a 0, it's going to put 4 zeros at the end of it. If it's 4s, it's going to put 4 4s at the end of it. It's just ensuring that it's formatted correctly to be at least 4 digits long. Because if we do a pin, and let's say the range, right, it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, because of what our formatting just did, it's now going to go 00001, and then same thing for 2, and then same thing for 3, so on and so forth. So we will do the payload, and this is going to be our pin that we need to set. So we'll put the pin value here in JSON, and we will set the pin string. And now we're going to do a response. So if the response is equal to requests post, and we'll put in the URL here, as well as, because this is an API and it is using JSON, we'll put JSON is equal to payload. And then we'll do an if statement. So if API sec is within the response, so response.text, we're going to print correct pin. We'll supply it the pin string, and we will also showcase the response. So we'll also just do response.text. And because of this, we're going to want to exit out of our program because we're not going to need it anymore. And we spelled API wrong, so let's fix that. Now that we said exit, let's come back over here and grab the URL that we need. And let's also add the /vault at the end of it. So now this may take a little bit, so I'm going to come back when the script is done. Alrighty, and there we go. API sec, that was incredible. So let's copy this and let's paste it into our notes. We'll click over here and we'll paste it in. And that's challenge number 1 complete. So the second challenge says unlocking Sauron's gold. The first door wasn't too hard, but can you figure out the next one? Sauron's gold is just beyond this door. And let's see some of the endpoints that we have. So it looks like there is a password, as well as the value is also password. So it looks like the exact same thing, except we need to somehow brute force the password. So we can use a curl request just to see what the deal is with that. So let's open up a new terminal and let's do a quick post request. So we'll do curl, and then we'll do an X post, and then we'll copy over our URL /vault, and then we'll do an H for header, and we'll do content type application JSON. We'll do tacd for data, and then we will supply it the password. And in our case, we'll just do something random. So hello, and we'll press enter. So it shows up as incorrect password. Now, what we could try to do is we can try to send this over to Burp. So we'll just do proxy, we'll do http://127.0.0.1.80.80, and we'll also do attack K to avoid the SSL errors that we may be getting, because we're using HTTPS for the URL. So we head back on over here and we go to history. We see that we get the post request, and we also get the incorrect password. So let's send this over to intruder. And essentially what we're going to do is we're just going to see if what we get is valid or invalid. Let's see if there's some form of difference either within the responses, within the time, anything like that. So we'll go over here to hello and we'll click add, and there's these little squiggly brackets, and we have a few options here. Now, if you haven't used Intruder before, this can be extremely stressful and you're looking at all these different things and it's like, what do I do? Payload type is essentially what you want to do. In our case, we're going to keep it to simple list. If you want to, let's say, brute force numbers, which we could have done also with the pin, we could have used numbers and we could have set the from as well as the to, and then it would have brute forced the pin. But in our case, because we're going to probably want to do letters and numbers, we'll stick to just a simple list. Now, what you can do is you could simply add things one by one. So we could do like A, B, C. I'm going to cut back when I'm done with this. So after Intruder was done brute forcing all the 26 characters that we supplied within it, it looks like the time differential for the letter O is significantly more than all the rest. So it's safe to assume that we have about half a second delay between true responses as well as false responses. So what we could do is we could make a Python script to essentially loop through all these different kinds of characters. This is just an example, right? So this is just uppercase, but in our case, we're also going to add lowercase to our script, and we're going to add a time delay to see whether or not a value is correct. Let's head on over to our VS Code and let's name this, let's say password.py. So after we create the password file, what we're going to want to do is we'll do a import requests. We'll also import strings. This will just help us with the ASCII characters that we have to set. We'll also do time, so do a URL variable, and we'll set the URL in just a second. Set the password as well as the char, and we'll do strings, ASCII, lowercase, and we'll do the same thing, except this time we'll also add uppercase, so uppercase. While true is going to have an infinite loop because we want this to continue until we tell it to stop. And we'll do a max ellipse time. We'll set that to 0. We'll do a baseline time, and we'll also set that to 0. And we're going to also want the best character. So if, let's say, the response time is greater than all the rest, we want that to be our best character. For now, because we won't have anything set, we'll set that to none. So now we'll do a for char in characters, and this is going to loop through all the characters that we previously set in row 9. What we're going to want to do is we're going to want to do a start time, and this is just going to be a time.time. We'll get the response by sending a post request to the URL. And because we are using a JSON API, we're going to set JSON as well as data. What we could do then is we could also set the data. So we'll do data is equal to, and we'll just set this to password, and we will add the password as well as the char to it. So we can make that into a format string by putting an F in front of the quote. And then what we could do is underneath that, we could do an end time, and this is going to figure out a way to stop the timer. So we'll just do an end time there, and we'll set the elapsed time to end time minus start time. And what this is going to do is this is going to get us the exact amount of time from when the request was sent to when the server received the request. Now that we have that, we could just do a print, and we could say, you know, trying, let's say password, and we could do a password with the char attached to it, so we could see exactly what it's doing. We could also do a response time, which is going to be the elapsed time, and that's going to be a format of 2. So we want 2 decimal places, and we'll also just add seconds in there as well. If elapsed time is greater than the max elapsed time, we'll set max elapsed time to elapsed time, as well as the best char is equal to char. If the max elapsed time is greater than the elapsed time plus 0.5, because we saw that it was about 0.5 seconds above all the rest when we looked at the Burp Suite intruder, we will just add a character to the password variable, and we'll set this to best char. We'll also print something along the lines of found password char, and we'll insert the password here, and we'll break out of the for loop so it can continue again. We'll also want to check to see if incorrect password is within the response.text. So in response.text, we're going to want to set the password char as well as the password. So password is found, and we'll also set the password there. And this should actually say if incorrect password not in the response.txt. We want to say, hey, the password was found. And we also want to print the response.txt as well as exit out of the program. So that should be all. And it looks like I need to just add some format strings to all of my print statements. So let me quickly do that. So now that we have everything set, let me just quickly run through exactly what's going on in case this may be a little bit confusing. So what we're doing at the top here is we're setting all the characters that we need for the password. So it's just uppercase and lowercase characters. Think ABC, uppercase and lowercase. We're doing a while true loop. We want this to go forever until we retrieve all of the password. So once everything is done, we'll retrieve the flag and the while loop will crash because we put an exit function at the end. These variables are being preset and we loop through all the characters using the char variable. We get the start and end time from the request to the response. We grab the elapsed time for how long the response took, and then we printed out the specific response time as well as the characters that were set for the request. We check to see if the elapsed time is greater than the max elapsed time, and if it is, we want to set the max elapsed time to the elapsed time, getting the best character. But if the max elapsed time is greater than the elapsed time plus 0.5. So let's say the first one we saw that O was 0.5 seconds, but the rest 0.1 seconds or something along those lines. We can now determine that that's probably the character that we need to set for the next char. So we'll set the best char and we say that the char is found, and then it'll just continue this cycle until it doesn't receive the incorrect password and it receives, an API sec flag. So let's go over here to Python 3 and we'll do password.py, and it looks like I didn't import strings, but I did. So there was a typo inside of the import. It should just be import string, not import strings. Save that. It's also a typo inside of the chars, so inside of the characters. So after we fix that, let's see if there's any errors, and we just need to supply, of course, the URL, and we'll do /vault. When I click enter, I keep just having a bunch of misspelled errors. So we'll just quickly replace that. So that way everything is fixed there. And now we can see that everything is going through. Everything seems to be set to 0.05 except for the O. And we get 0.55, which determines that, I think we got the right thing. So let's move on to the next one. We see that found password chart, and it goes through the next set of characters until it reaches 1 second. So now we have OP. Looks like it found OPE. And this is going to continue, but because of the way that the program is set, each request is going to get longer and longer and longer. So I'm going to pause this video until we retrieve the flag. So it looks like the brute force are finished and the password was open sesame. We retrieved the flag API sec. Time is of the essence. So let's copy this flag and paste it into our notes. And that's all for today's episode. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It really helps me out to pump out more content for you about web application security, API security, and anything pertaining to cybersecurity. If you do want to do the next set of challenges, they are here down below. There are 2 additional sections. The name of it is called Uber Orcs, and there are 2 very interesting challenges. Definitely recommend checking them out. If you do solve these, let me know in the comments down below. And please like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.